Thank you for joining Ocugen presentation today. We are a biotechnology company focused on transformative therapies with the potential to cure blindness diseases. We have a very strong pipeline, starting with our breakthrough gene therapy platform, which we call it modifier gene therapy, which we licensed from Harvard Medical School. The uniqueness of this platform in ophthalmology area, that's taking the first product, OCU400, it can go after many inherited retinal diseases, which are blindness diseases. For example, if you take a disease called retinitis pigmentosa, which is a significant unmet medical need globally, about 1.5 million patients globally struggle with it. So that means it's a genetic disease. If your parents have it, most likely you will inherit it. Currently, there are no approved therapies. There is only one product approved, which addresses about 600 patients in the US. And what we have is a breakthrough and game-changing technology platform. This one product can go after many of these blindness diseases rather than keep developing one product per mutation. So retinitis pigmentosa, we have about 150 mutations. They represent around 60% of the patients. Remaining 40%, it's very difficult to identify. So that means it's almost impossible to develop 150 products to take care of this population. So what we have is one product, OCU400, can target many of these. And we already received 4 orphan drug designations from the FDA. And currently, we are planning to initiate 2 parallel phase 1-2 trials with this sometime next year. And then going on to another gene therapy program, OCU410, which is targeted for dry age-related macular degeneration. This is a significant unmet medical need globally, 9 to 10 million patients in the US alone, and millions more globally struggling with it. And we believe that another modifier gene we have, RORA, could be effective. And once again, this is going through preclinical stage right now. It will be in the clinic in 2022 with the early stage. With our gene therapy, we do have a very strong strategic partnership with the CanSino Bio in China. And there's a good-sized biotech. They're on the forefront of COVID-19 vaccine development. And they have huge facilities, and they use the similar trains to make some of their vaccines. And it's a natural fit. And some of the management team members and us, we worked together in the past when we both were at the large pharma companies. And most of the CanSino team comes from US and Canada with a Chinese origin. Very good team, a lot of experience and know-how. That's really supporting us to move into the clinic very efficiently next year, because manufacturing is the key for any gene therapy success. And then I will spend more time a little later in the presentation about the gene therapy. We also have a novel biologic, OCU200, targeting major retinal diseases such as diabetic macular edema, diabetic retinopathy, and diabetic and also wet age-related macular degeneration. And it works with a distinct mechanism of action targeting integrin, unlike anti-VEGF therapies in the marketplace such as Eylea and Lucentis. And the difference here is, even though some of these products in the market are good, there are estimated to be about 50% of the patients are non-responders to existing therapies. Therefore, there's a significant need for remaining population, and also a significant underserved population. So we believe with our product, which has the ability to be disease modifying, we can target majority of these patients. So in a nutshell, we have very strong pipeline, and we're targeting 4 phase 1-2 clinical trials next 1 to 2 years, which will result in many near and midterm milestones and inflection points. Now, I'm going to introduce you to our leadership team. We have a very experienced leadership team. Most of us have worked for major pharma companies. with a lot of experience in developing, launching, and life cycle of many biopharmaceuticals successfully. And we have very, very renowned scientific advisory board, including Dr. Janeed, who also chairs our scientific advisory board, is a retinal surgeon. He also is an acting chief medical officer. And we got very renowned people such as David Boyer, Carl Regillo, Mark Pinesi, and Geeta Lalwani on our scientific advisory board. They have a tremendous amount of experience in gene therapy, clinical development and guidance. Now, this is a pipeline snapshot going into a modifier gene therapy program, starting with OCU400. As I mentioned, we already received 4 orphan drug designations from the FDA for multiple mutations. As I mentioned before, this one drug can go after many diseases, unlike traditional gene therapy, which you see in the marketplace. So these 4 orphan drug designations cover about 20% of retinitis pigmentosa in the US. And so again, our preclinical studies are ongoing right now. Manufacturing is going well at Consino Bio. Our goal is to initiate at least 2 parallel phase 1-2 trials next year. Then OCU410, as I mentioned, is targeted for dry age-related macular degeneration with a huge population and unmet medical need. Is going to be in the clinic in 2022. And our novel biologic is going to be in the clinic in first half of 2022. Again, it's targeting major retinal diseases. And now I'm going to spend some time on our modifier gene therapy platform and go through some details. So how is our therapy different than existing therapies in the marketplace? There's one product in the market, and then many companies are working on a traditional gene therapy. On the left side, you have traditional gene therapy. You have a non-functioning gene. You give a functioning gene through AAV vector, and when you start producing that gene, you inject it into subretinal, into the retina, and when you start producing the appropriate gene, you control the disease progression. And it's good, it works out. There's a product in the marketplace in the US that again represents a very small segment of the population, less than 1,000 patients, targeting only one mutation, as I mentioned before. However, if you want to develop a therapy for another inherited retinal disease caused by another mutation, you have to start from scratch, spend 8 to 10 years and significant amount of resources, get that product to the marketplace. So please remember what I said before. So if you have a disease which has got 150 mutations, that means you have to develop 150 products with the traditional approach. Now on the right side, we have our gene therapy, and you have a modifier genes. These genes are like master genes in the retina. They control many functions in the retina, from cell development to survival, and they regulate, upregulate many genes under those functional networks, and also bring homeostasis to the retina and restore normal cell function. So that means each of our gene, like as I'm showing here in the picture, can target multiple mutations or multiple IRDs. That means the same product, once it's manufactured, once you get into the clinic, you don't have to repeat any of the work on the manufacturing. And once you're in the clinic with early stage, once you get safety data in phase 1-2, you don't have to repeat it. You can go into multiple phase 3s, and eventually our goal is to get a broader retinitis pigmentosa indication, which could be phenomenal because many of these patients are desperately waiting and they become legally blind by the time they are in mid-40s. And again, as I mentioned before, these are nuclear genes. They're like master genes in the retina. On the right side, you have different functions in the retina they control: photoreceptor development to metabolism, phototransduction. And again, this modifier gene expression is not new to the field. It is widely used in the cystic fibrosis and spinal muscular atrophy area, linking of modifier expression to clinical phenotypes. In the ophthalmology space, we are the first company to ever introduce it. And now I'm going to share briefly high-level data we published in Nature Gene Therapy recently in collaboration with Harvard Medical School. And in this one, we show compelling data, why we believe our OCU400 works on multiple mutations or potential to treat broad RP. So in this, there are 5 different animal models used, representing 5 different human diseases. And in all of them, at the early part of the disease and advanced stage of the disease, the single product gene therapy shows significant rescue. And here, the data going into multiple animal models, as I mentioned before, 5 different. At the bottom, you're looking at the fundus imaging. Untreated means you get significant spotting. That means the retina is degenerating. And at the bottom, you see a clearing those parts. That means with a single treatment of subretina injection, it's protecting and rescuing retina from degeneration. On the top, again, on the left, you see early stage of the disease. On the right, you see advanced stage of the disease. Here, what you're looking for is, the dark bars are untreated and the light bars are treated. You can see a significant protection of outer nuclear layers in the treated, with a single injection. That means it's showing a significant rescue and protecting and rescuing from vision loss. In all these animals models, 5 different animal models, same product, consistently showing compelling data. So here again, you look into the function of the visual signal using electroretinogram. On the left side, it's scotopic, and right side is photopic. Photopic is most like a daylight. Scotopic is in a dark, almost like a, in a dark light. What you're looking for is the dark bars again represent treated animals, showing significant elevated signal on the function using ERG, which is again across the board, all the animal models, it's consistent. And so one would ask, if you're using a broad therapy to treat using this gene therapy, would you have any off-target effects? And in this, in the slide, you're showing on the left side, healthy animals, when they're given OCU400, it obviously upregulates many gene expressions, looking at fundus imaging, histology, opsins, those colors, the green colors you see. On the right side, looking at the function of ERG signal, and you don't see any anomalies, it's safe, showing there are no off-target effects of using this therapy. Again, proving the therapy is safe and effective. So I mentioned before, our goal is to initiate 2 parallel phase 1-2 trials next year in 2 different disease populations. And then once we get the data, then we will move into at least 3 parallel phase 3 clinical trials, because it's the same product. So you don't have to repeat any preclinical toxicology studies. You don't have to do any safety work. We'll be able to move into multiple parallel phase 3s. Once we have the data, then we can get a potential approval for broad retinitis pigmentosa indication with some phase 4 commitments. I mean, we are currently working with FDA and EMA. We'll also be working with Chinese regulatory authorities through our partners, and eventually move forward with the clinical trials there. So this is again a summary of our therapy is broad based, unlike other therapies. Traditional gene therapy, you target one at a time. And there is also cell therapy. Cell therapies are, again, not for the entire back of the eye, the disease. You have a specific cell types, photoreceptor cells, RPE cells. So those cells, it could be a little broader than the traditional gene therapy. Once again, the significant benefit we have with our therapy is, because these are like master genes, they bring the homeostasis to the retina and restore normal cell function. So the other approaches are unable to do that. That's a big difference. And since one product can target many diseases, it's economies of scale. You save a lot of capital. Moreover, you benefit all these patients once you get to the market, rather than waiting for many, many, many years to develop more than 100 products. That's a significant difference. So now with that, I'll spend a few minutes on the next 2 programs. This is, again, dry AMD is a tough disease. Millions of patients globally struggle from it. And it's very difficult to treat it because there are multiple things affected: oxidative stress, inflammation, and lipid metabolism. RORA, being another master gene, controls these functions. Therefore, we believe it has potential to treat this massive disease. Just imagine treating a disease like this, millions of patients globally with a single injection into the retina. Phenomenal. So this is why we're so excited about this program. Again, it's going through discovery preclinical stage right now. In 2022, it'll go into early stage clinical trials. So I talked about our partnership with Consino Bio. They're located in Tianjin. They have huge manufacturing facilities. It's a large company. It's about $10 billion market cap now. When we actually, so they're really growing, and they have state-of-the-art facilities. They got a GMP cell lines we needed for gene therapy. They use for their vaccines. And currently, the collaboration is going very, very well. They're making the product at a commercial scale for our initial clinical trials for phase 1/2, and also they supplied materials for toxicology studies. That product consistency is extremely important for gene therapy. So right from the get-go, because of the strong partnership with Consino, we are making the product at a manufacturing scale to get into the clinic that will minimize any regulatory risks with the program going into the future. Again, they are doing today, it'll cost $25 to $35 million. And we need to hire many R&D folks if we have to do the contract manufacturing with a partner in US somewhere else. However, since they have a skin in the game, they're strategic partners with us. They're taking all the risk, they're putting all the capital, and they're producing the product. And in return, when we sell the product in our markets like EU or US, they get the low single-digit royalties. And again, we gave them the greater chain of rights. When they sell the product there, we get a high single-digit royalties. It's a very lucrative partnership for Ocugen, and the Consino Bio has been tremendous support and helping us. Everything is on track. So now I'll spend just very quickly a couple of minutes on the next program, and then I'll close out. So once again, OCU200 is based on transferrin statin. It targets integrin receptor, which are only present on active endothelial or cancer cells. It doesn't touch the normal cells, unlike existing therapies in the marketplace. As I mentioned before, there is a significant underserved population. Even though the current therapies, the market is around $10 billion, about 50% of the patients are non-responders. We believe with this unique mechanism of action, with this macromolecule, we'll be able to target majority of these patients, and it could be a disease-modifying therapy. So here, it's a high-level data comparing to Eylea, which is a big gold standard product in the market from Regeneron. And at 1/4 of the dose of Eylea on the left side, at 10 microgram versus 40 microgram dose, it's showing a very good effect in one of the models, which represents diabetic macular edema model or diabetic retinopathy in humans. And in the center, we show head-to-head with Avastin, which is a gene therapy product, which is a product from Genentech, another biological, and it's showing a significant improvement in lesions, OCU200. Once again, this inhibits new blood vessel formation, anti-inflammatory and antioxidative. So it has many attributes compared to existing therapies in the marketplace. So we are very excited about this. And recently, we have announced a partnership with a contract manufacturing. So this program is moving forward very, very quickly. And again, compared to products out there in the clinical development on the market, our product can offer many benefits, including reduction in VEGF levels, and it triggers a native angiogenic process, cuts down the new blood vessel formation. It could be truly disease-modifying product. There are some products, small molecules in the market or in the clinical development from Allegro and SFLX, and they target integrin, and Allegro actually proved integrin targeting works in the clinic. So what we have is a similar target with a large macromolecule, which will have a longer pharmacodynamic effect, which is very important because you don't want to go into intravitreal space in the back of the eye, inject too many times in a year. So if you can reduce that frequency and stuff every 2 months, if you can do it every 3 months or more, longer, it could be really benefit to the patients. So we believe we have disease-modifying product with significant benefits. So in a nutshell, in a summary, we got 3 major programs, 2 in the gene therapy, and our game-changing program, OCU400, which is targeting many retinal diseases with a single product, is going to be in the clinic next year. And in the interim, from here to the tox studies are going really well, and we have many milestones coming through that with inflection points. Once again, we're going to initiate clinicals, then we'll start giving the safety read. With the gene therapy, once you're in the clinic, you can give the safety read on a 3-month basis, along with some efficacy signals. Similarly, OCU200 is going to tox studies next year. We're getting a very good input from the FDA on our roadmap on that program, and we're going to continue to develop it and put that in the clinic for the major population with the diabetic macular edema in the first half of 2022. And OCU410 is going to be in the clinic in 2022. So we have so many milestones and inflection points coming through. Once again, so this is our financial summary. We have currently cash or cash equivalents, little over $19 million. It will take us through, into 3rd quarter of next year. And again, we will continue to raise adequate capital to support all our development programs. And we have a clean balance sheet, and it's all common stock. Once again, we have a breakthrough modifier gene therapy platform, which has potential to treat many inherited retinal diseases with a single product. We got a strong strategic partnership with Consino Bio, a large biotech, which is tremendously helping out the strategic partnership on manufacturing side, which is critical for success of any gene therapies. And the gene therapy has a very high revenue potential. You must have seen from 2 products which are launched in the US, one from Novartis, one from Spark, which is part of Roche. They charge anywhere from $1 to $2 million per dose per patient, because it's a single once in a lifetime therapy. It's almost like a cure. So the reimbursement in the US and EU is very high. So you don't need to have huge patient population to have a significant revenues with this. I mean, the significant potential. So again, OCU200 is going to be targeting major retinal diseases like DME, DR, and wet age-related macular degeneration. And again, we are planning to initiate 4 phase 1-2 clinical trials in the next 1 to 2 years, encompassing all our programs, which will result in many milestones and many inflection points. So we're very excited to move the company forward.
Thank you for sharing your story with us. I'm looking forward to a lot of news and exciting events happening from Ocugen.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.